everybody, Sticks here with the Token Minorities, bringing you another deck on Pokemon TCGO, and today I'm bringing you a very old legacy deck centered around Darkrai, Mewtwo, and Terrakion, all the way back from Dark Explorers, Next Destinies, and Noble Victories. And before I get into the deck, just a reminder that if you like this video or found it helpful, please leave a like, drop a comment, and maybe subscribe. Helps us out a lot and lets us do more for you guys. And as for the question of the day, this is just going to be a very channel-based question. And at this point, I've done a tournament or two. I mean, this will actually be the second TCGO tournament that I've done. I always do versus ladder when I usually record, and I've even done a little bit of the best of three versus Fizz, and hopefully I'll be doing another one in the near future. Either way, I wanted to ask you guys, what type of content do you want to see? Do you prefer if I do deck lists where I just do a couple matches on the versus ladder? Do you prefer deck videos where I do a tournament? Or do you want to see a little more of that best of three type of thing? So just let me know in the comments section below. I would love to do really whatever you guys want to see most. I mean, I love doing all of this. So just let me know in the comment section below what you want to see more of and why, and I would be happy to be accommodating. Now, onto the deck. Like I said, this is centered around Darkrai, Mewtwo, and Terrakion, and this is a very, very, very old archetype. Well, actually not very, very, very old. It's like 2012, 2013, I think. I think it was at its heyday in 2012, but I might just have my years slightly off. Either way, this was an archetype known as DMT, or the Darkrai Mewtwo Terrakion that I just said. And really, it was just a variant of Darkrai Sableye. There are a lot of decks around that time that were just 4 Darkrai, 4 Sableye, or like 4 Darkrai, 2 Sableye, stuff like that, where it was just try to get a Night Spear up as fast as possible. This was one of the variants of that type of deck, where you run Terrakion for the mirror match, and you also run Mewtwo just as a backup attacker that you can get powered up in one turn. So this is actually my favorite variant of it. I mean, I know that there's stuff like Hammer Time and then the Turbo Darkrai, like I said, but I like this just because it gives you a little bit more of, it gives you a little bit more options in each different matchup, because, I mean, Legacy makes you face up against a lot of different types of decks. I mean, I understand why you would want to run, like, Turbo Darkrai back in, like, 2012, 2013, just because that was really the best deck at the time. And whenever you'd go to like a city or regionals or worlds, people would bring the best deck possible in order to win. Thus, Darkrai was brought quite a bit. And however, when you're on the Legacy, it's really just kind of it's a crapshoot as to what you're going to get. So I like having just a lot of versatility in the deck that I bring, so I can take on really any matchup that my opponent decides to bring. So anyway, I'm done rambling. Let's just get onto the deck. I'm running 4 Darkrai, main attacker, Dark Cloak. Really just kind of makes this deck work, actually. I mean, you have Terrakion with the huge 3 retreat. You have Darkrai and Mewtwo both with 2, Sableye with 1, but it still would be kind of an annoying retreat cost to have. But so Darkrai's Dark Cloak gives them all free retreat. Just slap a darkness onto them and they can retreat for free. And then also Night Spear is a phenomenal attack, 90 plus 30 to a benched Pokemon. Just start spreading damage around, and a lot of times one Darkrai can go the distance just by damaging the active Pokemon, putting damage on the bench Pokemon, just setting up a lot of 1-hit and 2-hit knockouts that allow you to just take the game very quickly once you're able to get set up. I'm also running 2 Sableye for the Junk Hunt attack. Sableye and Darkrai go hand in hand. They're like best friends forever. They have pictures of each other in each other's wallets. I mean, that's just how it goes. These guys 100% go together. Sableye is the best possible starter in this deck, because put a Sableye out there, put a Darkness Energy out on there, and then you can use Junk Hunt to get back whatever you use during the turn, or whatever items you would need for next turn. Really, it just helps you set up a lot faster and just be in a much better position than you would if you weren't able to get the 2 items back. Terrakion is also being run in this deck because of how much you run into Darkrai on the Legacy, well, I guess Legacy ladder is what it's called. And you run Terrakion because it can one-shot Darkrai with Retaliate if a Pokemon's been knocked out, and then Land Crush if a Pokemon has not been knocked out. So Terrakion, first off, its HP is great for the math. I mean, just taking 30, well, it's still not in Night Spear range. Well, Night Spear without a Dark Claw, but I'll get into that in a little bit. But, I mean, Terrakion is just a non-EX attacker that can one-shot a Darkrai, and that is absolutely phenomenal for the prize trade and whatnot. So Terrakion is in this deck to take on those Darkrai decks, and then also just any Dark Weak Pokemon, like, or not Dark Weak Pokemon, Fighting Weak Pokemon, like any normal Pokemon, like Bouffalant, and then Thundurus, stuff like that. I mean, Terrakion isn't just limited to the Darkrai matchup, it's actually pretty good otherwise, just in general. And then Mewtwo, I mean, is just a phenomenal card in general. You have these two guys. I know I said in general like 6 times in the past 3 seconds. Sorry about that. But Mewtwo is really the defining card of like the 2011 metagame, and Darkrai was the defining card of like the 2012-2013. So, I mean, you have 2 of the meta-defining cards in this deck, and really it's just kind of a, well, let's throw these guys out there and hit some stuff really, really hard. So Mewtwo is a great attacker to get powered up in one turn with X-Ball. If your opponent builds up something like a Terrakion or a Keldeo or something and is able to one-shot a Darkrai, slap a DCE onto Mewtwo and take that sucker out. So Mewtwo is a great way to just get powered up in one turn if you need that type of attacker. So we're running 2 of those as well, and also Mewtwo can function off the Dark and Fighting Energy as well. As for the items, running 1 computer search, 100% want to run computer search. No need for like scramble switch or anything like that, because first off, Dowsing Machine is junk arm in this format, and computer search just gets you set up, and also the fact that you can junk hunt for that if you manage to pull it off first turn is absolutely phenomenal. Running 4 Dark Patch to power up Darkrai as quick as possible, get that Night Spear off. I mean, I've been able to pull off a couple turn 1 Night Spears in this deck, although that is very, very rare. In a deck more dedicated to Darkrai, you can pull it off a little bit faster. However, this deck sacrifices a lot of consistency for for versatility and being able to handle multiple different matchups. So, I mean, you do sacrifice that turn 1, turn 2 Night Spear, and more often than not, you're going to be having like a turn 3 Night Spear, but turn 2 at the absolute earliest. However, I have been able to pull off a turn 1 Night Spear before. It's rare, but I've done it. So that's why we're running the 4 Dark Patches, just power up Darkrai. Running 3 Dual Ball, you could 100% run Ultra Ball to get Dark Energy in the discard pile. I like Dual Ball just because, I mean, it's, well, like is such a strong word. It has the lesser of the 2 evils in terms of drawbacks. Because, I mean, Dual Ball does rely on coin flips, and God help me, I have flipped 2 tails more often than I care to count, but at the same time, I don't like discarding a bunch of stuff with Ultra Ball, and because we're running completely basic Pokemon, I just decided to bite the bullet and run Dual Ball instead of Ultra Ball. That's completely up to you, and is something that you can decide for yourself. That's just my opinion, and what I decided to go with in the Legacy, because we have access to it in Legacy. 1 Energy Switch, just in case you have to, like, Dark Patch onto something or attach to a Terrakion to retreat it, and then Energy Switch, get the energy where you actually want it. Running 3 Hypnotoxic Lasers to make the math a little bit better, build up damage while you're junk hunting with Sableye. It's just good for early game, late game, setting up KOs on certain Pokemon and stuff like that. Running 4 Junk Arm to reuse everything. This is also a great way to get Darkness into the discard pile for Dark Patch. 1 Lost Remover, only 1 just to help with certain matchups. I mean, it's the definition of tech card. You don't want to rely on it that much. I mean, you don't need to rely on it. It's just a nice card to be like, oh, hey, you run a deck that's almost entirely special energy. Well, screw you, type of thing. I'm also running 2 Pokemon reversals because there is no non-coin flip based catcher in the Legacy format, and I am a big proponent of punishing your opponent for putting something like a Jirachi on the bench. Like, they shouldn't be able to put a Jirachi on the bench and not have to worry about it being catchered, Lysandered, reversaled, active, that type of thing. So I really like Pokemon Reversal. This is probably the first thing that if you run this deck and tech it out for yourself that you'd get rid of. This is just very much a personal opinion for me, and I do love Pokemon Reversal. Yes, it's on a coin flip again, but I mean, it really, really helps in a lot of situations. That's why I run it. Running 2 Random Receiver to guarantee get a supporter, 1 Tool Scrapper to shut down Garbodor. That way they can't just like reversal a Terrakion active, put down a tool, and then prevent Dark Cloak from being able to work. And then as for supporters, running 2 N, 4 Juniper, and 4 Oak. This is something that's just very, very personal to me. I mean, I only like running 2N because the Legacy format in itself is a lot slower than than like Standard and Expanded because of the lack of Shaman, blah blah blah. So I really don't like giving my opponent a fresh hand. That being said, N is absolutely incredible late game, and honestly, I just don't like N in general. I think it takes away a lot of the skill and resource management and just takes the late game and turns it down to luck. So that being said, I don't like running a lot of N, but it is too good of a card not to throw in there. But I mean, again, that is just personal opinion. You guys do a supporter line that works best for yourself. I just decided to go with these guys because, one, I only feel I need draw supporters in this deck, so I don't bother with like a Skyla or anything like that. And then I run 4 Juniper, 4 Oak just because it focuses on me and getting me the cards that I need, and also these are both very, very consistent. I'm running 2 Verbank City Gyms just to, I mean, combination with Hypnotoxic Laser, you could run like 2 Laser and 3 Verbank, but the thing is, Laser works well without Verbank. Verbank doesn't really do anything without Laser, so that's why I run a little more Laser than Verbank. And then Eviolite, this is a very iffy type of tool for me, because, well, it's not iffy for me because I love Eviolite. I love the extra bulk that it gives your Pokemon. Turns a lot of 2-hit KOs into 3-hit KOs. It gives you more longevity. And this is where my inner Jolt comes out, because he would 100% go Eviolite over something like Dark Claw, because, I mean, while Dark Claw can help with a lot of math, particularly on things like Terrakion, Blastoise, Keldeo, those type of Pokemon, I just like the longevity that it brings in. Dark Claw only would be good on Darkrai and to a lesser extent Sableye. Well, not even Sableye that much, because, I mean, it'd only be doing 30 instead of 10. But Dark Claw would only work on Darkrai, while Eviolite can be slapped onto anything, and that's again goes to the versatility of this deck that I like. So that's why I'm running Eviolite instead of Dark Claw. That's completely up to you, and make that decision for yourself. Onto the energy, running 3 DCE and only 3 instead of 4, because Mewtwo is really the only thing that needs DCE, but at the same time you want to run enough to where you're able to get it when you need it. 7 Darkness Energy to be able to Dark Patch and attach and give free retreat and all that. And then 4 Fighting Energy to be able to consistently power up the Terrakion and not be searching like crazy for a Fighting Energy. One line I can definitely see is running like 3 Fighting and 8 Dark, just for consistency of drawing Dark Energy. But this is the line I'm going with. I kind of like it. It's worked for me, and you know what? I've talked for way too long. I'm done rambling. Let's just go ahead and get into a Legacy tournament with this deck. Alright guys, let's go ahead and join this Legacy tournament. Go on over to DMT, and there we go. Okay, looks like only 3 people are here, so I'm just going to go ahead and pause it until we are a little bit closer to being able to start the tournament, so you guys just don't have to wait around. Alrighty, and there are 7 people in it now. It's only taken about 10 minutes, which admittedly is actually really good for a Legacy tournament. And alright, we are just going to go ahead and jump right into it. We are against like an Enriquemon. That sounds like a Digimon. That's weird. But either way, he goes for the coin flip. He does win it, so we do go second, which admittedly isn't the worst thing in the world with this deck. That does mean we will be able to junk hunt first turn. And oh, would you look at that? That is a gorgeous starting hand. Because what I can do is go ahead and play the Sableye, play the Darkrai, computer search for, I don't know, maybe Hypnotoxic Laser, actually. Just kind of get some damage on my opponent, get it done immediately. That way I can actually junk hunt for the Hypnotoxic Laser and computer search again. I'll be discarding the DCE, but that's not too big of a deal, admittedly. I'm curious to see what my opponent is running, and okay, looks like he is running a Darkrai deck as well, so you know what that means? Wait, he's running a Darkrai Mewtwo deck. That is awesome. Well, we'll see if he's running the Terrakion. If he runs the Terrakion, then we could be in a little bit of trouble, but I didn't think I saw the fighting in the beginning. Admittedly, I wasn't paying too much attention, because this is the first round of a Legacy tournament, and I did see the fact that my opponent was running a bunch of different energies, so I kind of assumed that my opponent was just kind of running a random deck. And okay, he Colrus's for 4. That is great for us, and that's kind of the reason I'm not running Colrus, because while it can be super, super strong late in the game, without VS Seeker, you're kind of forced to use it in some situations that you don't necessarily want to do. So you know what, I'm going to go ahead and computer search, get rid of the N and the Pokemon reversal to grab. Yeah, I'm just going to grab the Hypnotoxic Laser, especially because my opponent played the Verbank down. I might as well, because that way, coming back into my turn, his Sableye will be knocked out, so I can go from there. And okay, I even get a Dark Energy. I can work with this. I'm gonna go ahead and Dual Ball. Get a Terrakion out. There we go. Too bad I didn't get a Dark Patch or something like that. And this is where the clunkiness of the deck comes into play a little bit, just because, I mean, I've drawn 2 DCE already when I really would have preferred to get like Dark Energy or something like that, and then I also have a Fighting, all that junk. Well, junk because of Junk Hunt, sorry, that wasn't really funny. But either way, I am just going to go ahead and immediately computer search for a Hypnotoxic Laser and I'm going to Junk Hunt for the computer search and Hypnotoxic Laser. And actually, I was wrong on my math. The Sableye will not be knocked out coming back into my turn for whatever reason. I thought that he'd take 60 as opposed to 30. I don't know where my mind was, and whatever. I mean, everybody knows that I'm not exactly that smart. I mean, just ask Jolt. He reminds me of that all the time. My opponent does, unfortunately, get a very solid Oak. Gets 7 cards, and okay, so what am I going to do with this turn? I think what I'm going to do is computer search for... What do I want to computer search for? Do I want to computer search for a Darkness Energy? Because what I could do is computer search for that. Go ahead and get that into the discard pile. Play the Fighting Energy onto the Terrakion, because I want to have the Terrakion up. Just for when my opponent decides to, you know, go for it. And okay, luckily my opponent does not get a Catcher Heads. That would have been annoying, but it wouldn't have been the end of the world, because at that point I could have just computer searched for the Darkness Energy, played it onto the Terrakion, and went from there. But either way, I like this setup a little bit more, especially because it looks like my opponent doesn't really have much going at all. I'm going to be able to Junk Hunt again next turn, and this is where the consistency comes into play. I'm not able to get going super quickly just because of the consistency that this deck sacrifices for versatility. But of course, in this matchup, I love having Terrakion because it's just sitting on the bench as a one-prize attacker, able to one-shot those Darkrai in the background. So my opponent does just go ahead and go for a Confuse Ray. And oh, I draw into a Junk Arm. That's disgusting. I don't want to discard all of those. Well, I mean, this sucks, but I'm going to have to discard like all of my Junk Arms. What I think I'm going to go ahead and do is computer search. I mean, I hate to computer search for a Darkness Energy, but it's what I got to do. Go ahead and play the Fighting Energy onto the Terrakion. Well, what I could do is... I mean, the Sableye already has damage on it. I'm going to be discarding these anyway, so I might as well... The Sableye will just be Night Spear damage away from a knockout. So what I think I'm going to do is go ahead and try to reversal in a Darkrai or a Mewtwo or something like that to get Hypnotoxic Laser built up on it, but alas, I don't get it. You know what, just go for the laser just because it won't matter anyway. I have the Juniper, and still no Dark Patches. Wow. Jeez, I run 4 Dark Patches and haven't gotten a single one. Well, whatever, I'm just going to go ahead and Dual Ball. Get 2 heads, that's nice, but it's really not that big of a deal. Do I want to get Mewtwo and Terrakion? No, I'm going to get the other Sableye because my Sableye will be going down. Will go down coming into my turn. So let's just go ahead and do that. Go ahead and Junk Hunt to get back the computer search 100% and the laser. I mean, I'm going for the laser just because that's kind of my go-to. Just always have the laser, always have that thing ready to go. And my opponent doesn't even have me lasered, so I don't have to worry about it too much. And okay. If my opponent... Oh, he goes into the Mewtwo. This is why I have the laser, just to ensure that I have that damage. I could get, like, the Tool Scrapper. Well, actually, didn't play the Tool Scrapper, so I wouldn't be able to get it. But especially because I don't have anything that much better in my discard pile, I might as well just go for the laser, get that guaranteed damage, and the damage racking up over time and stuff like that. Really, Hypnotoxic Laser just helps out so much with the math. And, okay, my opponent is just going to Catcher. What's he going to bring in? Okay, gets heads, brings in the Terrakion. I understand that play. That's fine. I mean, as long as I might just computer search for a Darkness Energy this turn, because I mean that's what I gotta do, and so there's nothing wrong with that. He does laser me, sets me up for a Dark Claw boosted knockout. Well, even just like a regular Night Spear if he manages. Well, he doesn't get the DCE on the Mewtwo, and that's why I run DCE, so that I can get that damage off when I need it. Oh, I get Noak's New Theory. That is great. So what I'm going to do, go ahead and Tool Scrapper, get rid of the Eviolite or Eviolite, however you want to say it, on the Mewtwo. Let's go ahead and just Laser, get some damage going on him, put him to sleep. That's even better. Let's go ahead and Energy Switch, get this back onto the Terrakion. There we go. Computer Search for, you know what, I'm probably just gonna, oh no, I'm gonna Computer Search for a Dark Patch. Yeah, this is, I like this play, so go ahead and put the Darkness Energy onto the Terrakion so I have the free retreat, but then be able to Dark Patch onto the Sableye, onto a new Sableye, something that I wouldn't have been able to do anyway. So yeah, just go ahead and put that energy on the fresh Sableye, get the energy onto the Terrakion. Would have had to do that either way for the whole retreating thing, but this way I have the energy on the good Sableye. Gonna go ahead and put the Eviolite on the Terrakion, because I mean that's the scariest thing for my opponent right now, is that Terrakion. And I'm just gonna go ahead and Junk Hunt again for a Computer Search. And do I have any Darkness in the discard pile? No, I do not. So I think, yeah, you know what? I'm just going to do my Computer Search for my Junk Hunt for a Computer Search and Laser again, in case my opponent retreats out. That way I can just keep racking up damage. And does my opponent wake up? He does not. That stinks for my opponent, but is great for me, because I mean now I have a free turn to Junk Hunt again. And even though my opponent might be able to knock me out in a little bit, it's not that big of a deal. Okay, so he does just go for the DCE on the Mewtwo, be able to knock out my Sableye. And so what I think... Oh, the Absol comes out. So he must be running Absol and not Terrakion. He does stay asleep. That is brutal for my opponent. I actually feel kind of bad at that point. I'm going to go ahead and Random Receiver, get a Juniper. What I can do is go ahead and Computer Search away, get rid of the Mewtwo... Get rid of the Darkrai and the Mewtwo, I think. Yeah, let's go ahead and get rid of those guys. Grab a Dark Patch and wait. I did this wrong. I did that wrong. I was supposed to Computer Search, get rid of the Darkness Energy for the... Yeah, I didn't have any Dark... Yeah, whatever. I mean, that was a flub on my part. That was a dumb play. But what I can do right now is... And now I don't even have any... Darkness energy in the discard for a Junk Hunt. So dumb play on my part. I should have even just discarded the Juniper. Well, I should have just even discarded the energy with the Juniper, but again, I mean, I'm gonna go for like my 4th Junk Hunt for a Computer Search, and then yeah, Computer Search and the Hypnotoxic Laser, even though I already have one. I mean, I could have gone for a Tool Scrapper, but I don't think it's gonna be that big of a deal. And my opponent stays asleep. Now I feel bad. Because, I mean, I'm just sacking this Sableye right now. I'm just sacking it. I don't need it anymore. I mean, it took me like 5 turns, but I finally have a Darkrai powered up. My opponent has... Ooh, I can even Lost Remover. Well, I mean, I won't be able to... Hopefully I'll draw into my Computer Search or something like that. I mean, luckily my deck's low enough to where I might... And, oh, well, I mean, I was wanting to draw into the Computer Search, but I just draw into the Lost Remover. Not bad. So I can go ahead and power up my Darkrai in the background. And, okay, oh, my opponent even gets Tail. See, like, I kind of feel bad now because, like, he's kind of owed a heads and then me to be asleep. But, I mean, you go with what you're given. And my opponent even stays asleep. Not that it matters anymore, because what I am just going to go ahead and do is play the Darkness Energy onto my Darkrai, go ahead and Lost Remover, get rid of that special Dark on the Darkrai, set my opponent back a little more, and then just get me 5 more cards, see if I can, like, power something else up. And I draw into a Hypnotoxic Laser. Well, I mean, I played the end right there because, I mean, I'm going to go down to 3 prizes at the end of this turn, and I don't want to bother drawing into that end later, so I might as well play it for 5 cards and 3 cards, and you know what, I'm going to go ahead and knock out the Mewtwo, go ahead and get some damage onto the Darkrai that has energy on it, because, I mean, Absol is going to take 2 turns to power up regardless. So I might as well start getting damage on the Darkrai, that way Hypnotoxic Laser can start building up damage as well. And also with the Absol, I'll be able to knock it out in 1 hit with a Night Spear plus Hypnotoxic Laser. And okay, my opponent gets the Keldeo. That's fine. And the Jirachi. See, this is exactly why I run Reversal, because my opponent played down the Jirachi, and he should have to worry about it. He shouldn't be able to play the Jirachi down just to... I mean, he shouldn't be able to play the Jirachi down and just assume that everything is going to be safe and that he doesn't have to worry about it. I want my opponent to be a little bit scared and wary of playing down these low HP EXs onto the bench, just because, I mean, because the thought of it coming back to bite them is a very real possibility. So my opponent does just go ahead and Stellar Guidance for an N. I mean, that's to be expected at this point. I mean, I have what I need. I have a Hypnotoxic Laser. I have a Darkrai powered up. I have a Terrakion powered up. So even if my opponent manages to knock me out with an Absol or a Darkrai, I'll be able to retaliate for an immediate knockout on whatever my opponent goes for. And wow, that's beautiful. Like, that is... See, I mean, usually N screws me over, but I mean, of course, I get N'd into a really great hand in a situation where I don't really need it. I mean, again, but that's how it goes. I'm not complaining. I mean, I'm complaining a little bit because I kind of want to save my good N's for when I need it. Because, I mean, if I was ever not going to get a good N, this would have been the perfect opportunity for it. But it looks like my opponent just decides to rush in with the Keldeo, and I'll be able to get 120 damage on it. What I can do is go ahead and actually... yeah, let's play the fighting onto the Terrakion to have a Land Crush. That way I don't even need to worry about Retaliate to knock out Darkrai and the Absol. And I do get heads on the Hypnotoxic Laser flip. I feel bad, so I'm actually kind of hoping a little bit at this point that my opponent wakes up, just because, I mean, he's gotten so screwed by it. I mean, I'll take it if my opponent stays asleep, but at the same time, like, I don't know, like, I'm so far ahead that even that if he wakes up, it's not bad for me. So, okay, he does wake up. I would have felt bad if he stayed asleep, just because then I would have been screwing him left and right, but at least this way he can make it into somewhat of a game. And either way, Keldeo is... I'm going to be Night Spearing. I have to Night Spear 2 more times at least to win the game no matter what. And at this point, the bench damage from Night Spear is going to come in so clutch, because I will be able to go ahead and put the 30 damage twice onto the Keldeo for a 2-prize knockout. So that's, again, where Hypnotoxic Laser comes in super clutch with the extra damage. And I mean, to be fair, Dark Claw could have done the same, being able to get the extra damage on the Keldeo that you need to be able to knock it out with two Night Spear bench damages. But I don't know. I like the Eviolite just because of, I mean, all of a sudden the Night Spear from another Darkrai turns into a 3-hit KO as opposed to a 2-hit KO. And that is exactly what I like to see. And okay, he does just go ahead and Tool Scrapper, get rid of both my Eviolites, but he's not going to be able to attack this turn. I already have... Honestly, I have all the damage I need. I have the damage done on the Keldeo. I have a little bit of damage done onto the Absol to where Night Spear, even without a Hypnotoxic Laser, will be a 1-hit KO. And I'm going to go ahead and put a DCE onto the Mewtwo. Just, I mean, have another attacker, because why the heck not? And then I'm going to go ahead and Oak, because, I mean, while I am getting low in deck size, it's not the end of the world. Just go ahead and Hypnotoxic Laser. Just get more damage in as many places as possible, because I mean, if I'm gonna get damage, why the heck wouldn't I go for as much damage as possible each turn? Because I still have a Junk Arm, and this is actually kind of funny. This deck relies so much on Dark Patch, and I have used a single Dark Patch this entire game. Darkrai will even get knocked out by a Night Spear bench damage at this point. So I mean, I'll be able to take a 2-prize turn. I don't think there's any way my opponent can knock me out. Yes, Mind Jack will be doing a lot of damage. Let's see, it'll be doing 140. Even with the Hypnotoxic Laser, he won't be able to knock me out. Admittedly, if he had a Silver Bangle and a Hypnotoxic Laser, he would be able to knock me out. But, I mean, at that point, I have Terrakion, I have Mewtwo. I'm just in such a good position. Then I have double Dark. Actually, I mean, I have the game won regardless, because what I could even do is just double Dark Patch onto the Darkrai on the bench, and then Junk Arm for the... Actually, I don't even need to Junk Arm, because the last requirement of Night Spear is a colorless energy, so I'd just be able to double Dark Patch onto the Darkrai on the bench, attach a fighting energy to it, and then Night Spear for the win. So even if my opponent somehow manages to knock out this Darkrai. I don't think it is possible, but if he plays, I don't know. So he does just Mind Jack for 140, and I will be able to win the game right here. So yeah, I draw into the energy. Just going to go ahead and Night Spear. Yeah, you know what? Let's just knock out the Keldeo, because why the heck not? Take a 3-prize turn, and we win round 1. That was actually probably the most intense round 1 of a tournament that I've ever played, because usually in these tournaments, at round 1, you play a completely random deck that, I mean, it's just kind of a bunch of thrown together cards, and they joined in because why the heck not? And yeah, you see my opponent got 8 tails. I mean, that really sucks for them, but I mean, I don't know. I think my deck was just better, and even if we had gotten the both 50-50s, I think on coin flips, I think I still would have won. So yeah, that was round 1. I'm going to pause this and go ahead and come back when round 2 is about to begin. Well, I am glad I paused it, because that took forever and a day for the next round to begin, but here we go. I am up against a Victor 1000 with a very interesting looking deck. I mean, to be fair, my opponent had a bunch of types as well in the last round, and that turned out to be a very good match. So I'm going to hold off judgment until I see what my opponent's bringing. We do lose the coin flip. That's not the end of the world in this deck, because you will be able to junk hunt first turn anyway. Well, you'll be able to junk hunt because you go second, and oh, that's actually beautiful. If my opponent runs something like low HP, I'll be able to knock it out immediately. And okay, wait, what the heck? An Ursaring Prime? What is my opponent running? See, like, this is the type of deck that I was talking about. You usually run into round 1. It's just a bunch of really kind of random Pokemon thrown together in a deck. I mean, yeah, admittedly, my opponent, well, even there, you see the Great Ball, so you know that this is not exactly the most competitive. Like, I'm not trying to knock my opponent. I'm really not. Like, I encourage all of you guys to try out new formats and see what you can do. Because, I mean, like, new formats are fun. They're great. I really enjoy trying them. And at one point, every single one of us was a guy that was throwing together a bunch of random cards in a deck and trying to make it work. So I'm not knocking it at all. I'm just saying that, like, this is the type of deck that you usually run into first round of a tournament, because somebody wants to be like, oh, I can join this, and then they unfortunately get knocked out. So I do miss the reversal. I was going to bring in like an Eevee or the Ralts or something like that, and then just knock it out immediately with combination of Laser Bank plus X-Ball, but either way, I mean, I don't get another Pokemon in play. I mean, I'm not too worried, especially because I have an Eviolite on the Mewtwo, but now I am just going to go ahead and put 60 damage with the X-Ball onto the Kyurem. Unfortunately, Kyurem's HP is not conducive to having particularly good... What am I trying to say? Kyurem's HP is not conducive to getting a good number on the Poison plus X-Ball, because at this point he will be knocked out going into his turn. Well, he won't be knocked out coming back into my turn, which would be the ideal setup, but I'm just drawing a bunch of energy in an Oak. So I mean, at least I draw a supporter, so I don't have to worry about my Mewtwo getting wrecked too quickly. But yeah, I am just going to go ahead immediately and Dual Ball, probably grab a Darkrai. Yeah, just for that free treat in case my opponent manages to take out my Mewtwo or something. And then I'm going to go ahead and Junk Arm. You know what? Yeah, I have a Dark Patch, so I'm going to go ahead and Junk Arm. Go ahead and get rid of the Darkness Energy and the other Junk Arm. I mean, I know that seemed like kind of a waste, but I mean, this way I can just go ahead and play my hand down to 0. Well, play my hand down to 1, and it'll be a supporter for next turn. I mean, I know that was highly unnecessary, and I could have just Junk Armed for another Dual Ball to get a Sableye or something, but you know what? I just wanted to be cool right there. Go ahead and knock out the Kyurem, and my opponent looks like he's not being able to draw into anything, which, I mean, it sucks, but again, this is a tournament. I'm going to take what I can get. Yeah, my opponent just has to attach and pass. I'm going to go ahead and Hypnotoxic Laser the Eevee to guaranteed get the knockout on it. Then go ahead and Juniper away the rest of my hand. Just get something else going. Go ahead and get a Sableye down, get another Darkrai down. Go ahead and put the energy onto the Darkrai on the bench. Go ahead and Lost Remover away that DCE. So guarantee myself the win. I mean, I know that the win was pretty much already guaranteed anyway, but I mean, you do what you have to 1000% put yourself in an almost unlosable situation is what you want to go for. So my opponent now has no energy on the board, 2 cards in hand, and a Pokemon that is weak to Psychic out against a Mewtwo with a DCE on it. And yeah, he has to just draw a pass. I win. Gonna go ahead and attach the DCE and X-Ball for the win. So, I mean, while first round was really exciting, second round not so much. I mean, it was just very quick. Attach DCEs to Mewtwo and just run through my opponent. And I mean, that's why Mewtwo's in this deck, because Mewtwo has that ability to apply pressure early and apply a lot of pressure early with the combination of X-Ball and DCE. So, I mean, that's why I run it in this deck, and that's why I think this deck is very strong. So, I mean, yeah, that was the round, and I mean, that was a very quick semifinal. Usually, I mean, the match that I had first round would be switched with the match that I had this round. But yeah, it looks like my opponent is not ready yet, so I'm just going to come back when the finals are about to happen. Alright guys, the championship is, well, I guess I wouldn't even call it a championship. The finals, if it was a championship, then it'd probably be a much bigger tournament, but either way, the finals are about to get underway finally. Took a little while for my opponent to win, but okay, it's against Mellow 209 with a Fire, Grass, and Normal. What? Is this like a... I mean, initially I would think that that would be like a Vespiquen Flareon deck, but I mean, I know that Vespiquen isn't an expanded, so I have no idea what my opponent is running. I mean, the Reshiram coin like makes me think that it might be Reshiram, but either way, wow, I get a very nice start. Start with a Sableye and a supporter, so what I think... Oh, and even a Mewtwo. So, yeah, this is a Reshflosion deck. Not sure what the grass is, but yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and put the Mewtwo and the DCE down there. Probably, I'm just going to go ahead and computer search for a Hypnotoxic Laser, get some damage racking up, I think. Yeah, let's go ahead and grab that. And then I can just Juniper away the rest of my hand, get rid of the N. I mean, I got rid of 3 supporters in one turn, which sucks a little bit, but, I mean, hopefully I won't have too much trouble. And while you look at that, I don't get a Dark Energy, so slightly frustrating, but let's go ahead and Dual Ball, see what I can get. Let's go ahead and grab another Darkrai into Mewtwo. Get 2 heads, but, I mean, and this is one of those situations where I really don't need it. Play down the Mewtwo, play down the Darkrai. I don't... You know what? I won't need the Terrakion at all this match. What would have been nice right there is a Verbank to put the Reshiram in range of being knocked out by a 2 DCE X-Ball. But unfortunately, don't get it. And oh, my opponent's running Crushing Hammer. Why? Why are people running random Crushing Hammers? I don't get it. Like, that's... I mean, in Reshflosion, I mean, you have, like, maybe 1 extra spot, and that usually goes to a consistency card. I don't understand why people run random Crushing Hammers. I don't now, and I never will. But unfortunately, with my Sableye getting put to sleep, that means that I won't be able to retreat it, meaning I won't... Well, actually, never mind. It's going to be able to... Wakes up right there, so I mean, you know what, catastrophe averted. I am just fine. What I think I'm going to go ahead and do is Junk Hunt, get rid of the Juniper and the Dark Patch. I mean, I'm going to get rid of everything but the... let's see, do I want to grab the Computer Search for a Dark Energy, or do I just want to grab the... Yeah, let's go ahead and Computer Search. I mean, I'll be getting rid of the DCE and the Terrakion anyway with the Juniper, so I might as well just go ahead and Computer Search, grab a Verbank to put the Reshiram in range of getting knocked out by the... I guess... I mean, would it be next turn? Yeah, you know what? Let's just go ahead and put the Darkness onto the Sableye. Go ahead and put the Eviolite onto the Mewtwo. Retreat into the Mewtwo. And then go ahead and go for an X-Ball. Get 60 damage on the Reshiram. It's going to be up to 110. It'll be knocked out coming back into my turn, which is what I wanted. Yeah, he'll be able to get off a good amount of damage on my Mewtwo. But at this point, I mean, I'm in a good enough position. Oh man, my opponent immediately has a turn 2 Rare Candy Typhlosion. So I mean, that's really nice for him. He will be able to hit me for a ton of damage with the Outrage, but I mean, at this point, he'll get knocked out coming back into my turn, meaning I'll be able to get off a hit on something else, and I need to get a Darkrai up and going, because if I can, then I have a chance. If not, I just lose. I mean, the fact that... Oh, I guess the fact that he already kind of has a Typhlosion... Oh, man, no way. So, okay, gets the... Oh, and he gets a Heads, too. That's gross. Well, I mean, I hope that... Wait, will he be able to... I don't think he'll be able to knock me out this turn. He goes for the Outrage... Does 120 into 150. Okay, that's fine. I can go ahead and get some damage off on something else. And no, I stay asleep. Oh my gosh, that is... Oh, that is so bad. Wow, that sucks. That sucks so horribly right now, because otherwise I would have been able to get a hit off on the Reshiram, or at the very least retreat it into my Sableye, but yeah, all I can do right there is just go and, yeah, just let Mewtwo get knocked out. I mean, that blows. That really, really blows. Oh, that's frustrating. But, I mean, either way, my opponent's going to be able to take a prize on the Sableye. I mean, the Sableye won't do much. Actually, the Sableye won't do anything for him, just because, I mean, I'm not planning on playing down another Sableye. Well, I mean, I say that now, but let's be real. You can never trust what I say, because I'll say that I'm not going to play another Sableye down, but then I will go ahead and just play one right after I say that. But the plan right now is to not play another Sableye down. That way my opponent still has to knock out 2 more Pokemon EX in order to be able to win the game. So, I mean, this one prize Sableye won't be too big of a deal. And what sucks right now is that I don't have a supporter or anything like that. I have a Darkrai with 1 energy on it. I have manually attached to each turn. I haven't really done... Actually, I haven't done any accelerating at all, which, I mean, kind of speaks to how clunky this deck can be. And my opponent goes ahead and puts damage onto the Sableye. Well, not really damage. He puts a... goes for a Hypnotoxic Laser onto my Sableye. He's used 2 lasers. And, yeah, I mean, going back into his turn, my Sableye will get knocked out. But what I think I'm going to do is... You know what? I said that I'm going to go for the Sableye. I'm not going to play another Sableye down, but I need to play it down. I need to Junk Hunt, and I don't want to get knocked out going back into his turn. I want to force him to spend his turn knocking out this Sableye. And I'd be more weary if, like, Catcher didn't revolve on a coin flip, but now I'm just going to go ahead and Junk Hunt for a Computer Search and a Laser. If my opponent wants to knock out my Sableye next turn, he'll have to attach 2 more energy to guaranteed get the Brave Fire or go for the coin flip with whatever else he went for. So, I mean, unfortunately, Typhlosion has too much HP for me, and this is why a Dark Claw could very well be handy in this type of matchup, because it would put the Typhlosion into good math range. But yeah, at this point, I mean, I'm going a little too slow right now. It's not what I want to be doing. And then my opponent is going to be able to Juniper, so he's been able to support her 3 turns, well, every single turn, and I have missed supporters on my last 2 turns, and that has really, really hindered me. Yeah, he will be able to take the knockout on the Sableye this turn, but I will finally get a Night Spear up and going because of the Dark Patch that I have in my hand, as well as the energy, and then I can also go ahead and Computer Search as well to get a supporter or something like that. So I mean, I'm in a bad position, I'll be honest, because I'm down. Well, at the end of this turn, I will be down 3 prizes to 5, and the prize trade-off against Reshflosion is not particularly good because they are majority 1 prize attackers. I mean, I will focus on trying to take down this Reshiram because it's a 2 prize, and that would be amazing if I can take it out. My opponent does go ahead and knock out the Sableye, but honestly, at this point, I kind of have to go for broke. I am so far behind. I just have to try to start making plays, taking some risks here and there. I'm going to go ahead and immediately Dark Patch onto my Darkrai right here. Go ahead and Computer Search, get rid of a Fighting and a Darkness energy to grab. I could grab a Dark Energy, but I think I'm just going to go ahead and grab a Juniper. Well, I mean, I could grab a Dark Energy, I mean, I could have grabbed a Dark Patch. But I'm just going to grab the Juniper right there, play the Darkness Energy down onto Darkrai, and then Juniper for 6 cards, and oh, I get nothing. That's gross. Well, I mean, I get a Tool Scrapper, which gets rid of the Floatstone and the Silver Bangle, which keeps him from being able to retreat, and I'm going to go for another Hypnotoxic Laser because, well, I wanted to put him to sleep because the math is not right for being able to knock out this Reshiram right now. Gonna play down another Darkrai just for the heck of it. And then, what do I want to put the damage on? You know what? Let's just... yeah, let's just put it right there. Put it on that Reshiram, then hope that I can get something going. And unfortunately, the math is so bad right now that I will not be able to even knock him out with the Verbank poison that's coming into it. And oh my gosh, my opponent gets another rare candy Typhlosion and has an Oak. So I mean that's kind of salt in the wound for me at this point. He will be able to hit me for a ridiculous amount of damage and also have a Reshiram set up in the back, which is devastating for me. So I mean this is looking very, very, very bleak for me right now. I mean I'm gonna have to make some serious plays in order to even think about coming back. 'Cause, I mean right now he's gonna be able to get 150 on me. Please get tails. Oh my god, my opponent even gets heads. I mean if he had gotten tails, I had a chance. But since he didn't, I'm kind of, yeah, I mean, I'm in a very, very bad position because if he had gotten tails, then I would have been able to take 2 prizes and we would have been even. Then I could have, like, retreated into my Sableye or something. No, TCGO, do not do this right now. I know what you're doing. Play down the Eviolite. Do not exit out. Come on. Oh, my gosh. Why does it do this every single time I try to... Yep, there it is. Why does it do this every single time I try to record a tournament? This is utterly ridiculous. Please actually log me back in. Oh, thank the Lord. Okay. So, we're okay. Catastrophe avoided there. I'm going to go ahead and play the Eviolite down onto the Darkrai, play the regular Darkness Energy, hopefully get something I can work with. And, you know what? I have to do this. I have to Junk Arm to grab... could grab a Dark Patch. You know what? I have to Junk Arm for a reversal and then pray that I get heads. I mean, I hate that it's coming down to this, that I have to just go on a coin flip, but at this point I have to take risks because my opponent has gotten everything he could possibly want. Meanwhile, I was unable to get any acceleration going up until this point. So this is actually great for me. Unfortunately, it will result in my active Darkrai going down and me being down to, and my opponent being down to 1 prize, but I needed to make this play. Go ahead and take the knockout on this Reshiram, take a 3 prize turn, and just kind of honestly just hope that my opponent doesn't get anything because I'll take 2 prizes off of that Reshiram. I mean, it's, again, more energy that I don't need right now. I mean, I have a random receiver. So glad I have the random receiver because I'll be able to get a supporter and hopefully something else. And then I get, wow, another frickin' energy. Jeez. Well, I mean, at this point, I have a Darkrai powered up in the background. This does suck a little bit because my opponent will be able to knock out my Darkrai with simply a, with simply an Outrage. But actually, at this point, he has to waste both. Oh no, he gets rid of my random receiver. That's gross. That's horrible. Oh man, now I'm in top deck mode. But he will be able to knock out this Darkrai with a simple Outrage. But he will waste all of his attachments for the turn doing that, meaning that he will have to, once again, manually, well, I guess, afterburn onto the Reshiram on the bench. But either way, I actually think I'm in a spot to win this, because even though my opponent will be down to 1 prize, he'll need a reversal in order to win. So I think I'm in a good enough position because, I mean, admittedly, I need some way to do damage to this Reshiram. Like, I need a Junk Arm or something. And, oh, there's a random receiver. Thank you, Lord. And I get an Oak, so I need to draw into something to get me a laser, because that would, I think, actually kind of win me the game if I can get that. And yes, I have the Junk Arm, so let's go ahead and retreat into my Darkrai. What I can do is go ahead and Junk Hunt for the laser, and then that will get me the knockout onto this Reshiram right here. And then what I can do next turn is, well, either way, he'll have to power up the Reshiram on the bench with his Typhlosions, and he will not be able to one-shot me regardless. And I should be able to one-shot him, especially because I have another Oak ready to go for next turn. So I will be able to take a prize, go down to 1, and unless my opponent has a reversal or a catcher, I should be able to win this, especially because I draw that Junk Arm. So, I mean, it could come down to N again, but if my opponent just ends himself to 1, then he's not able to... The fact that he goes into Typhlosion tells me that he does not have the ability to two-shot me with Reshiram, and he doesn't want to risk it. But at this point, he goes into Typhlosion. Please don't hit this. Oh, thank you, Lord. So it did come down to a coin flip, kind of, but not that much. I think I win, guys. I really think I win, because he's going to have to Afterburner onto this Typhlosion if he wants to be able to Flare Destroy this turn, and that will put him in perfect range of being knocked out with a Night Spear plus a Hypnotoxic Laser. So we are actually... Oh my gosh, this is amazing. So unless he has another Crushing Hammer, guys, we won. We won. We were able to come back. Oh, that's amazing. I'm so freaking excited right now. I mean, he's going to be able to discard an energy, but I have an energy in my hand. Oh, that is great. This is so great right now because I can just go ahead and put the energy onto my Darkrai, Junk Arm, get rid of the N and the reversal, grab that Hypnotoxic Laser, get the extra damage I need onto the Typhlosion to win the game. I'm like slurring my words right now. I'm so excited that we were able to come back right there. And Darkrai comes through clutch, down to 1 prize left. My opponent was down to 1 prize, and I was able to come back on him with the help of Darkrai and Hypnotoxic Laser, and oh my god, that was amazing. I mean, it did come down to a few coin flips here and there, but I mean, the fact that my opponent was able to get so perfectly set up in a deck that's as clunky as Reshflosion, while I was using a deck that isn't supposed to be nearly as clunky, but still was unfortunate. And look at that. I mean, my opponent flipped 5 heads and 6 tails, so right around even. I flipped 6 heads and 9 tails, so that was 9 tails. But either way, oh my god, that was amazing. I'm super psyched right now, and I even get some Plasma Freeze and Call of Legends, both of which are really valuable packs. So I hope you guys enjoyed watching this. Let me know if you want to see more tournaments or if you just like ladder matches and stuff like that. But thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, all of that stuff. And this is Styx signing out. Why not? See you guys.